Welcome to Beyond the Game. My name is Gregan, and today I'm chatting with Nico, co-founder of Platform Gaming Bar.
Started in 2016 with an idea of creating kind of a cool gaming bar, and started with
How can you grow that quickly? Because you mentioned things like investment, that came from you at first. What about sponsors, investment? Is there anything you're doing there to try and grow for the future?
The first step is our mission. I think gaming's been a bit of stereotype where it was very male-oriented, addiction, dark. It's just bad for the industry. I think people just think it's like this, and I think that's the best way to fight against this. It's to open physical venue, or even to do esports event. I think this is...
Yeah, one thing you didn't mention I've seen a lot of when I've been in there. There's quite a lot of dates. Love will be about forever, I'm assuming. Who knows where AI is going to take us, but people will always find someone they want to share gaming with. Make sure to follow for future episodes, and let us know who you want to hear from next. Hope you enjoy this conversation as we get to know Nico beyond the game. Nico, welcome. I'm excited for this one because I feel like all of these episodes we get to meet people from the industry, it's always a unique story that people probably didn't even know existed. And for you run a gaming bar in London, one of my favourite. My favourite probably. I can't really say one of my favourite. I go there often, had my birthday there. I've had lots of work events there. So Nico, tell me about yourself first, and then a bit about Platform Gaming Bar.
Absolutely. But first of all, thank you so much for having me. We've been discussing about it for a while, and I think it was a good opportunity to have it now. Yes, so what about me? We can tell a little bit by my accent. I'm from a country that speaks French, not from France. So I grew up in Switzerland, in Geneva, I would say a town, but a very small town compared to London. Studied in the UK, worked in Italy, and then came back for this project. And started in 2016 with an idea of creating kind of a cool gaming bar, and started with pop-up events. And why London is because also my brother is also my co-founder with one of his friends, all being studied in the UK. And decided to start here also because it was in the past the second biggest market in Europe, and now it's the biggest market for video games in Europe, just past Germany, I think last year or something like this. At least that's what Yuki said.
This is what I'm going to enjoy with this podcast, is you know so much about the industry because you're a very tactical businessman. You're not just going to come in and go, like a lot of people within the gaming and esports space. You try and look at the space, work out what's best, and apply that.
Absolutely. I think we come with a different approach from maybe, people going into the industry. We're trying to more have the business side of things first, and then get all do trial and error within the industry, if it's esports, if it's gaming, and see what works and what people want, because it's let's say we started with pop-up events just to understand what works, what doesn't work. So we did varsity event with university for esports. That was massively successful. It was actually I think if I remember correctly, it was Imperial College against LSE or another university, but it was crazy, 12 different games in one day, in one room. It was quite awesome. And then we did more casual event that was viewing party only, sold out. We did also casual, with just computers and console, sold out as well. Very interesting demographic. So it was not just gamers, people who are passionate about video games, but more families, people who used to play video games. So we said, okay, always full. So let's find a venue. So this is where we raise money, family and friends to start with, get enough money in 2018. Took 6 to 9 months to find the first venue in London. Especially pre-COVID, it was very competitive to open a venue in London. Especially in Zone 1. Finally made it in Shoreditch, open in 2019. Actually started also, like you said, in a business approach. We had 4 different activities to start with. That was console gaming, computer gaming, retro console gaming and racing simulators. And we realized that what works in terms of demand and also in terms of hospitality operation, that actually console was kind of the secret recipe, I would say.
With the consoles, that's where for the first time I went to a platform, it was a chance to show off gaming to a new partner at Guild when I was at Guild Esports.
Correct.
And it was amazing to be able to show off. It was like Mario Kart, Smash, Rocket League, FIFA, these kind of games on a console with a few drinks with a new partner. And I fell in love with the venue at the time. And then shortly afterwards, I connected with you just through a normal, like, hey, I want to run my birthday here. And then I ran my birthday at the location, and we just kept meeting each other and, run a few events together. We've recently set up a Street Fighter event.
Correct.
Through Logan and Damascus, who came on the podcast. And then, we did a viewing party we helped work together for a Rocket League event.
Yeah.
We've done all sorts of stuff just because I love the way the venue fits within the gaming space. But you said about how the casual audience seems to be such a big audience for you walking into the bar.
Yes.
Like how do people find platform?
So yeah, just before saying how they find us, I think before we kind of started it is we saw also a big opportunity into the, not only on the gaming side but on the hospitality side of things. There was kind of this need in competitive socializing, as they call it's a fancy word, but like say activity places, activity bars, with the rise of especially the most famous one in London, Flight Club, that is the darts place that's they're growing like mushrooms everywhere in the UK, and they've been successful. And to get a spot, you need to at least book 1 or 2 weeks in advance. We said, but what about doing something similar with video games? So that's why I think people like it, and also when you compare console gaming to other games, it's a bit less immersive, so they have time to drink and eat. That is kind of something that's very important from the business model. And how people find us mainly is, I would say, digital advertisement. So, I would say 3 main one are Meta, with Instagram, Facebook, not Thread yet, but hopefully soon, but I don't know. Then we have Google, that is very, very important. And then the last is TikTok now, that we've been kind of pushing a lot. And as you know, Greg, that you produce content, people are looking for places to create content. And I think these activity bars, are the perfect place to create content because they are a fun place. People are interested about them. So, getting, TikTok influencer or people like you, talking about the venue. I remember really well when you did actually something that was amazing was during the Rocket League tournament, is like the place to go during the tournament. And it's exactly the same approach with, TikTok influencer that we offering them to come and they just talk about the venue. And then, for people who they want to see, okay, what should I do this weekend in London? Then, this influencer come on top of their list and say, okay, they can come play video games and have food and drinks. So yeah, this is like the 3 main place where they find us. Obviously, this is more kind of, I would say, the B2C side of things. So when we have small groups, and then we have the other side of the business, that is the sales side of things, where we get much bigger groups. Guild was not like randomly they come to us. It's like because I build a relationship with some of the employees there that they thought about us. Obviously, there's also the way that we might be also like a niche concept at the moment. So people need us and they find us like this. And so this is more the corporate side. And then the last bit is more like kind of the gaming activation, I would say. So it can be, like you said, viewing party. It can be just an afternoon with the partner. So I think it was a food partner that you brought, with Guild the other time. And then we can do gaming launches that we did with, Sega and Warner Brothers in the past. And also just celebrating a day with Nintendo, for example, for Mario on the 10th of March. So the venue can be quite flexible because video games are, have unlimited, capabilities to do very different things. And also now they're part of our day-to-day. I mean, is the biggest entertainment, topic on the planet, bigger than gaming and bigger, sorry, than the film and the music industry. So we need to leverage on that, and actually you can relate. What's really nice is that you can relate video games to almost anything. So, you have the digital, but then you can just talk about organic, how we attract people is just to talk about how cool is video games.
Yeah.
I think we've missed a few bits, but with time we're going to improve, and there's so many cross-referencing that we can do with video games.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've recently opened up the Canary Wharf branch. That was back in April this year.
Yeah, end of March.
Yeah. I first went there on, I think it was 4th of April.
Yeah.
Was the event with the Mario Kart that
correct.
That was done by UK Esports, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, the venue is now fully flowing, lots of events going on, the Street Fighter event we mentioned recently, to have like that regular customer group who come along.
Correct.
The thing that I always wondered, and it makes sense to me now, but I'm sure it'll be interesting for the podcast, why Canary Wharf?
So what we realize is with competitive socializing is where we get the most of our volume is after work. So basically we're in Shoreditch, so just in between, we say we're in Shoreditch, but actually we are more in the city, but is how successful we are after work. So people hang out, they want to find an activity. I think also a lot of companies, they don't like just to go out and drink. I think when you sell that to your employees, they're like, I don't want to go there anymore. And now especially even more now with COVID and trying to get people back to work, if you give them a fun activity after work, they're going to come. So for us, it was very important to be in an area where corporates are around. So because they have a big purchasing power and they spend much more, than other people because, they have decent jobs. And so hopefully a decent salary. And then why Canary Wharf? Because I think they work really, really hard recently to have a lot of residential people over there. So they've been very successful for corporate company to be there and stealing everyone from the city or being just an extension of the city. And then now they have 250k people living there. And now they're trying to get to up to 400. So they're going to be like a proper town by itself. And also the security is amazing. Everything is very clean. And to be honest, there was a need for competitive socializing. That's why I think we also been a bit asked by the council to come in, or we say the Canary Wharf to come in. Because we know that other concepts that were less attracting than ours were wanted to come in, but they cannot come. So I think they created this kind of ecosystem that was really good. And now we're seeing huge result with the corporates. And then, luckily enough, we are very close to Stratford, with a lot of gaming events at Copperbox and also Excel Arena that is not far away. That's also doing the Pokemon event recently, where we actually hosted one of the VIP parties already. So yeah, I think it's Canary Wharf is surprisingly good, and the footfall in weekends, I can't believe it, really how big it is. It's much more than the city, and so that's why we choose there. And also the obviously there's also another factor is real estate availability. So this is kind of I would say the biggest challenge for concept like ours is to find a location, because there's not infinite location where you can build your concept. So it was available quite straight away. It was a shame that we had to remove another gaming concept to have our gaming concept, but that's why also was kind of also for our, when I said before about we raised the money for the first venue, family and friends. The second one, it was a fund, so we had kind of this incentive to open quite quickly. So I think it was a mix of, it's a good location, but we also had the pressure on opening a second one. So that's why we come there, and I think it's been a good decision so far.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the venue that was there beforehand, and that was more of a PC focused approach and a lot more hardcore gaming focus.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really like about Platform is that it combines some of the hardcore audience with some of your esports viewing party events. You do have PCs at your Shoreditch venue. You have the Street Fighter competitive community where you've got like some of the best players in the world coming along for those events. And then you've also just got these people who've probably never played Mario Kart before, or maybe have played it once or twice, playing with their like over 40-year-old work colleagues. And like that difference in audience, you've covered the whole range, the whole spectrum of hardcore to very casual, maybe not even considering themselves gamers. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think the Canary Wharf one, when I first saw it, I was like, why are you going there? Like, you're taking over a failed gaming concept, but yours is much more aimed at casual audience. With the style of the Canary Wharf venue, it's more console focused, right?
Yeah.
So correct. It's like 24
console booths. Yeah. So I think the first venue's been like kind of just a proof of concept. So we just try to like improve it bit by bit. Maybe you remember in the past it was very white, mm-hmm. Not a lot of, I would say, soul, and now we're just trying to get a new soul. We also like kind of rebranded a little bit along, over the years. So now we're trying to get kind of, our style is more Miami Vice, mm-hmm. LA Sunset, 80s vibe. I think it's something that is, we say it's out of date, but it's always coming back as a kind of the new trend all the time. Mm-hmm. Barbie coming out is very similar style, and it worked really, really well. It worked with also to kind of collab with people, and I think we work with a lot of different brands that we can talk later on. So the first one was kind of really test phase with console. We saw that the revenue from console were almost 95% compare. If you take the area where people were playing console game compared to the computer games, were making most of the money. So that's why we focus on this. But we kept the esports stage more about the story, because we have so many regulars coming, and I think to just have also events, computers are always kind of really good to have. Mm-hmm. For casual competition, we try to do like esports competition, but it's very complicated because the internet can be challenging, and also sometimes the specs of the computer can be quite challenging. And so then we did a rebrand, and then when we did the second location, we've just, I think, level up, and I think we call it like Platform 2.0, and I think we are very close to what would be kind of the final version of Platform. And
any hope for a third platform coming soon?
I think so. No. To be fair, yeah, that's the objective for next year. So mm-hmm. Open the third venue still in London. I think we have something to prove in the UK, and I think once we have proved that the UK works, then I think we might go outside. We still focalizing on London because London is just so resilient. We've seen with COVID, I think it's the city that's recovering the fastest in the UK, even though there's opportunity more up north. Obviously, I think also the approach is, if you succeed in London, I think you can succeed anywhere. I think there's like kind of, when we look at opening the first one, we were like, I think there's two cities in the world that are the most competitive, is New York and London. Mm-hmm. So if you succeed there, I think there's an opportunity to succeed everywhere. Also to attract investment and stuff like that. Yeah, so I think we're getting closer to that. So hopefully now Canary Wharf is going well, and we'll see we're going to work hard for next year.
Yeah, I'm excited for future platforms and also the potential for expansion across the whole country. And I think that's something that's been done fast with some brands, in particular linked with stuff like the already available gaming brands like game stores and things like that, where they've tried to force competitive fun gaming and everything across the country. But I think your model is definitely the first of its kind that's like it, mm-hmm. with the very casual approach, but also allowing for the hardcore gamer there too.
Yeah.
I think the next step in my mind is, how can you grow that quickly? Because you mentioned things like investment, that came from you at first. What about sponsors, investment, like fit outs with particular brands, or anything you're doing there to try and grow for the future?
Yeah, so I think there's like a lot of interesting stuff that you just said. I think the first step is our mission. I think something that we didn't really discuss. I think what we want to do is, I think gaming's been a bit of stereotype where it was like very male-oriented, addiction, dark with, neon lights. And I think this is kind of just, I don't know, it's just bad for the industry. I think people just think it's like this. And I think that's the best way to fight against this. It's to open like physical venue or even to do like esports event. I think this is esports event. They proved something that was kind of, you can have the same atmosphere as like a football stadium or like a traditional sport in a stadium. So I think the first thing is for us just to show that actually video games is cool. And I think there's like, that's how we approach when we do any decision. And then obviously with video games is some people, what they've done wrong is to tie to one publisher or tie to one, sponsor. And we're trying to kind of, this is a space for every game, every type of gamer. Obviously now we're focusing on console. We don't want to say that you cannot be a computer player and you don't come to platform. It's just saying the activity that we're going to provide, it's going to be console because we know that it attracts 95% of the gamers that actually are casual gamers, and the core gamers are only 5% of the market. And so if you see the number of gamers on the planet, they say 3 billion, like the UK research says. So we're trying to target the 95. And so then the other step is also about education. So we want to help, people are using our space to kind of educate people to kind of be attracted by the gaming industry. So that's why, in terms of investment, I think we're going to carry on with getting people who are expert into hospitality, try not to be tied with one brand or on certain things. Yes, I think, for example, we can be with one brand for screens. Actually, we are tied with Philips. That is an amazing partner, and they're huge and they're doing great screens. So that's why also you said for the Street Fighter, we have 55-inch 144 hertz. So for the
none of the players could believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, wait, no way this screen that's this big runs at the frame rate we want with no input lag and everything like that. They're amazing.
Exactly. So shout out to them to have like released this kind of the new gaming branch of their TV called Evnia. And so we're just trying to be very strategic on who we pick, and obviously certain brands are very protective. Nintendo, for example, are supporting us. They're not a sponsor of us because they protect everything. They don't want to be involved. They want to control who they work with. A good one would be just to kind of see who's to put in competition. PlayStation and Xbox at some point. Obviously, the market is not helping at the moment with what's happening with the crisis, especially in tech. So we are trying to be strategic. But for example, for beer, we decide to go with. We used to be with Budweiser, so in Camden, but now we decide to go with Heineken, who actually paid for the bar in the venue and the walk-in fridge. So we are trying to get brands that also can cater the 95% that we're tracking to the venue. So Heineken has craft beer like Brixton, Beavertown, and stuff like that, but also they can have the mainstream beer like maybe Moretti or Amstel. So that's why when we pick and choose, and also we cannot be very picky at the moment. We're just two venues, but with time, hopefully we can get more investment there. No, so I think we're gonna do like. Obviously, we're still small, so we cannot like also raise money with banks. Take some loans, but we're gonna I think do a last round investment pretty soon, hopefully, and then just carry on with growing with what we have.
I guess the question for me then is how sustainable are the bars? Because especially with COVID, a lot of people reassess the way they make money as a bar and a venue. The prices of eating out and drinking in places has gone up because of everyone's realized how much it costs to sustain it. What's the main way you guys make money at a venue?
Yeah, so I think there's three main revenues for us. It's the activity, so the gaming, then there is the drinks, and then there is the food. The three of them have, the most important one is the drinks, but who has also one of the most interesting margin, but the activity has the biggest margin. I think how we approach the thing is like the gaming is the attraction, and then is to bring the customer in, and then we need to make them spend as much as possible. And then obviously COVID, the challenge was to we just simplified everything. I think COVID just made realize people that, you need to be efficient. And also, for businesses like ours, is like to maximize the front of house and have the minimum back of house. So in our case, we used to have, pizza chefs to have like proper pizza, but we seen that actually people when they come to platform, they're so surprised about the pizza that, you don't need to have like the best pizza of London that we need to attract anyone. So we thought about, okay, what about getting, a frozen base pre-cooked, and do the rest on the venue. So to spare a lot of space and also to have no chefs. So we optimize this where actually we don't need chefs anymore. And especially with Brexit, it helps a lot because chefs were asking for crazy, wages because they were much less than before. All Italian people went back, Spanish people went back, and they couldn't come back. And they went back home, and then they couldn't come back to the UK because of visa issues. And then, so this is more like on the food side, we like very simplified all the operations, so we can have anyone cooking. And then when we look at, also we added nachos, so something that we didn't anyone to cook, and you can still use the pizza oven for it, so we don't need to purchase anything new. And then, for example, we have ice creams that are already in pots, so people can just help, we can just put them on the table. We don't need to serve them and stuff like that. And then on the drinks, we just thinking of the product that we reduce the menu, and with the menu that we have, we've been creative to create cocktails and stuff like that. So we don't need to add extra ingredients that has small shelf life. So the idea is like we have stuff that we can keep, so we have lesser waste. And then, so when you do these two big things, I think already you like, it's the biggest challenge that you've already like resolved. And then the last challenge is the gaming, where I think when we approach video games and what people want, obviously people have different tastes, they have different needs and stuff like that. But in the end, people, when they come to platform, they usually pay 90 minutes. So this is kind of the demand when you see it for, activity bars and stuff like that. It doesn't mean that you cannot come earlier or stay after to finish your drinks and food, but it's just for the activity and also to like put at the price that is kind of normal. So we want to be closer to like a cinema ticket price. I think cinema can be between 15 and 25 depending on how premium is the cinema, and we are at 13.5 for 19.
That's for a group of 4 or something, right?
This is for per person.
Per person.
But
okay.
per person, what you get is your own screen. And we just discussed about 55-inch, 144 hertz, and you get the latest generation of consoles. So you get a Nintendo Switch and the PS5 with a selection of games, roughly 15 and 15 games per console. And they are usually quick games, because what we want is people, they enjoy, they can change, they can also, play after one another. So someone can play, the other one can drink, and also
you can buy a drink between games.
Yeah, exactly. The idea is like people need to, if you don't get the hospitality side of thing, I think it's very challenging to survive, especially in London. So if you mix the three of them together, it makes a lot of sense. And then also you need to be open so people get curious and see, oh, they're playing this game. What about trying this game? And also what's very important for us is local games. So we don't do anything online. We try to avoid it because challenge of having, internet and stuff like that. So basically people, when they play during the day, is only offline, and then during the evening we do all the updates on the consoles, and then the day after, for example, if people want to come, we have all the latest Mario Kart tracks that's just been released a couple of days ago. So if people are not sure to want to purchase it, it's not that cheap, they can still try with us and then say, okay, maybe I'm convinced to have at home. So I think there's like kind of a lot of stuff still to do. I think I'm talking about a lot of different things, but we are still trying to get what is the best offer, and we're just still trying a bit, and then going to one direction where we're gonna have like the full package. So that's why I think we still like working still on like kind of the ultimate platform stuff.
Yeah, one thing you didn't mention, I've seen a lot of when I've been in there, especially during the day, because I used to go and work on my laptop in the day and see the people coming in and out. There's quite a lot of dates. You get a lot of couples coming in where one of the two is a gamer and they kind of want to introduce gaming to the other. So yeah, you got that kind of going for you as well, where love will be about forever, I'm assuming. Who knows where AI is going to take us, but people will always find someone they want to share gaming with. So
yeah, I think what's very interesting is compared to like other gaming bars or even competitive socializing is we want also to attract the next generation of customers. And I think this is something that some people forget is how you're going to get people who are, a lot digital. And I think that's what gaming, it's great. It's also console are not, as cheap as it used to be, to purchase, a console plus the games, plus the TV, plus whatever. It can be quite expensive. And I remember that was my challenge when I was a student, there was always something missing, it can be...
You haven't got another controller.
Exactly.
You don't have a very good TV. Or...
TV, no beer in the fridge. So I think this is kind of the idea is just to kind of create the perfect environment for the new generation to come. That's how we attract them. And then why dates is so good. I think dates needs to be dynamic. It's always the first look is always a bit tricky, and having video games is just because it's competitive. I think it breaks the ice straight away because you can understand the character of the date. You say, okay, you choose a console and choose the game to start, and then you get into it. And I think it's very important. Also for when I went just before COVID, for the last February before COVID, when we had this crazy week with Valentine's week, I think it was the most crazy week we ever had. Is I've asked, we checked the data and who booked to come, and 90% of the people who booked were, I cannot say female, but at least they had names that looked like they were female for their boyfriend, because what they wanted to do is just put their boyfriend out of the bedroom. And secondly, the most interesting is like they wanted to beat them. So basically, usually they had Xbox or PlayStation, but they never had Nintendo. And so for the woman, it was kind of a way to potentially beat the boyfriend, Mario Kart, Mario Party, or even go on fighting games that is usually so successful for women.
Yeah. Because
a lot of, I would say, in the past at least, a lot of the boys were playing, FIFA, Call of Duty, and they give no chance to their girlfriend also to interact with them on video games that can be their passion. So I think this that was very, very interesting. And I think this is where I think we need just to have like an inclusive place, accessible, cool, premium. I wouldn't say not ultra premium, but premium. I think people, what they like now is something that is a bit private. They feel it's a bit better than home because that can be a challenge. It's a challenge more for core gamers because they have everything at home and they feel like, why should I go out if I have everything at home? But like for them, if you get it like a little bit, premium enough, then they're going to go out and say, actually, it's a good value for money.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key, is having an experience that people go away from and want to tell their friends about. And I think that's probably the biggest thing you found is word of mouth. It must be amazing, especially within the gaming world. So many people I invited along for my birthday were like, I didn't know this place existed. And then afterwards they'd go back there, and, the amount of times I've been around in Shoreditch, and then we're kind of jumping from bar to bar, and then someone says, should we go over to Platform for a bit? So yeah, it does seem to be that venue that people want to keep going back to.
Yeah.
Which ultimately is every bar's aim, right? Like you don't want to be that bar which people go, yeah, it was all right, don't want to go back there.
No, absolutely. I think now we're not working enough on it, but I think it is something like in the future we're gonna kind of try to kind of keep people come back more. I think Shoreditch has more that feel because it's a bit smaller, intimate, so people like to come back. With Canary Wharf, and the fact that also the venue is a bit bigger and the layout's a bit different, so at the moment we don't see that much yet. But still, we've just been open for 3 months and a half, so it's very difficult to have regulars after 3 months and a half. And like you said, we're just trying as much as possible to people to know us. But London is 7 million people, and to get the attention of everyone is very, very tough. But we're getting there, and I think where people gonna know us is like when we open more venues, and hopefully our mission is like to replace cinemas maybe one day, because Netflix and stuff like that, it's making very difficult for that kind of concept to still work. And we think that platform could be the next cinema, hopefully one day. There's still a lot of work to do, but gaming is not that cheap still. I think people think it's free and stuff like that, but all the hardware that you need to have before can be quite expensive. And even like me, that very casual gamer, when they put FIFA online to be paid by month, I stopped playing because I thought it was kind of, I purchased a game, it's already like 70, 80 quid, and then you want to pay extra every month to play online. I was like, this is not for me. So I think it's this is a way I think platform can be very attractive for people who wants to maybe play once or twice a year. They can have a place to do it for free, not for free because they pay to have access to the venue.
Yeah, but they have to have the startup cost of buying the console and purchasing all the bits and stuff that go with it. Especially like even controllers are a big thing. That so many people, like I've got a Switch, I've only got one Pro controller because why would I need more? So whenever I have people here to play Mario Kart, we're all on the little Joy-Cons, whereas you've got 4 Joy-Cons and 4 Pro controllers, so everyone's happy and everyone gets what they want. All that kind of stuff is amazing. I think we'll take a little bit of a break from talking about platform. Yeah. We'll get to know you a bit more. You did just mention you're a bit of a casual gamer. So on this podcast, we ask everyone their top 5 games of all time. And so seeing as you have a business around gaming, it's always fun to ask what your games are and how far back you go with them, because if you're not gaming as much now, it's always interesting to see where you came from with your gaming. So what are your top 5 games of all time?
It's a very good question, and I think like now I'm going to think really hard about which one, because I think it's a very good opportunity to say it now. I think the game that I spend much of my time is definitely Pokemon.
Which one?
I think it started with a blue, red, and the yellow. Mm-hmm. And then, I think this one, the one I've invested much more of my time. Even at
if you're going to choose one of those colors, which one did you play?
I think I go with. I wish it was. There was one green.
Green was in Japan.
Okay, no, so there was no green here.
We had blue over here.
Yeah, we had blue. So because I love, I was more like selecting always, the green Pokemon to start.
You like Venusaur.
Yeah, exactly. I think definitely the yellow one then, because of Pikachu, because you can have Pikachu behind you. I think I spent a lot of time on this game. I think it was, for me, completely mind-blowing when this game came out. On the Game Boy, and then on other, evolution of the Game Boy. I don't think I've played on the DS afterwards, but this definitely had a big impact on me. Then second one, I think, is on there's 2 games on the GameCube that also did a lot.
What a console. We haven't had many people bring up GameCube on this podcast.
For me, I think GameCube is my most played, actually 3 games, now I remember. 3 games on the GameCube. So I have a top 6, sorry.
That's fine.
I think it's first was Mario Kart Double Dash.
That is a class game.
Huge for me, because I could play with my brother. Mm-hmm. And I think it has a big impact today on the business, being, together to play on a thing. So
do you, speaking of Mario Kart, do you guys ever just play a bit of Mario Kart platform then together, just on the side when you...
Not that much, actually, because my brother went on the League of Legends skills side of gaming, or I would say more Fortnite or Apex, and I stayed more, on the Mario Kart and the FIFA. But definitely, playing together was huge. And actually, now that I'm thinking about even a 4 game, I think then, so we said Mario Kart on GameCube, Double Dash, definitely. Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube. Again, why? Because I could play with my brother and do the storytelling, and that was amazing. I mean, and also anime style was great. James Bond, when you can play in 2.
Which one? Nightfire, was it?
No, it was the one that you are third view.
Oh.
So it's I don't remember the name.
I can't. It's because there was GoldenEye, but that was on N64 and Wii.
I don't remember the exact name but there was this James Bond was just amazing because
me and my brother used to play Nightfire all the time.
Yeah, and also Nightfire, but Nightfire was
first person.
First person, but this one was the one that you can play together.
Oh, because it From Russia with Love or something like that, was it?
Yeah, something like this.
The one with the Sean Connery movie, I think, replicated.
I think
it had like a red cover, I think. Because I remember playing that game, but me and my brother preferred Nightfire multiplayer. But that I think that was the third person one.
Yeah, because we could play the story in 2. I think this is kind of the thing that we really like with my brother is like play the story but being 2, like Tales of Symphonia. Mario Kart, this was just one type of thing, so you played all the tracks and stuff like that.
Can you look that one up? And you looking it up?
And
give us all the James Bond titles on GameCube. Nightfire's not that one. Everything or Nothing, maybe. Agent Under Fire was good as well, but I don't think that one had multiplayer. Rogue Agent. I think it was From Russia with Love.
Yeah.
Third person, yeah.
And then the one that I think was my first esports, it was SSX Tricky.
What a game. SSX.
What a game. And what a playlist.
What the songs playlist in that game. Because I played more SSX3. I did play a bit of Tricky. But SSX3, there was a song in it, and I can't remember what it was. But whenever it came on in the menu, we would just get up and dance because it had such good music.
And now thinking about music, I also Need for Speed. Wow, this game also. I think the GameCube just had so much with me, and I think just to not give it to say too long. I think then when we went to the PS3 and PS4, I think there's just 2 or 3 games. Is like definitely FIFA. I love it. Obviously, it changed from PS to FIFA.
Mm-hmm.
Then the big one for me was when I got the only game I finished everything was the first Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
I think the first one was just brilliant and was like just game changing for every game. And obviously GTA, but like I think
So yeah, it's an interesting top 5 you've got there.
Yeah, but
like
I think no. But if I feel what I like, kind of the one that most impacted me, definitely SSX Tricky, Need for Speed, Pokemon,
Yellow,
exactly, and then
Mario Kart.
I think Mario Kart Double Dash and Tales of Symphonia. I can give other games, but like I think this one are really, really good.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, GameCube is a generation that I haven't had a chance to talk about much on here because I think it's one of those where it really worked well as a split screen console. So like when you like for me, the big reason why I loved it was me and my brother would play Smash together, Nightfire together. Once we transitioned into the Wii, we played a bit more Mario Kart on Wii, but we had all of these different games. And I still, to this day, go into CEX and look at the GameCube section in there just to see what games are about. Never intending to buy one, because I think we sold our GameCube to get the Wii, because you could play them in the Wii anyway. So, like, I don't even know if we've got a GameCube still, but, like, all of those games just so... That was probably the point where I became a hardcore gamer. Was around that time.
Yeah, me too. To be honest, he hooked me. I was addicted, I think, at that point. I think it was so good. I was like every day, I can't wait to go back home and just play, and just finish the games and get better.
We got to talk about the intro sequence.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I think this console has like a huge impact on me and my brother on, I think, doing the business definitely because of the local multiplayer. And you're right. I think this is kind of the console that's, they've done already a good job before with the Nintendo 64, but I think the GameCube was kind of the last evolution of the local multiplayer stuff, and obviously now the game are just improving and stuff like that, but in terms of they got to like the really top of how you can play together at a game locally,
because that was the last Nintendo console that didn't have online, like popular online, like you didn't.
Correct. The Wii, I think the Wii you could,
because the Wii had online, but I don't think GameCube had online.
No, they didn't. I'm sure. I'm 100% sure.
So I feel like that was like the last split screen only multiplayer Nintendo console. But I guess we'll go back and just sort of round out the platform side of things, because how long have we been going for, Harry? 43 minutes. Yeah, we've got like another 10 minutes or so. And I guess I want to talk about private events, because that's a big part of platform.
Correct.
As a bar. You have these huge events where either you said there's new game announcements, viewing parties, that kind of thing. I want to ask you, like, what's the evolution of that been like for you? Like you said hospitality is a big thing for you. So what kind of things do you make special about a gaming event in your bar?
So when we start like doing like these pop-up events, what we realized what was difficult is to get the hardware and the connectivity. So when we said, okay, we're going to open a venue for gamers or just a gaming venue, we thought, okay, I think where we can get some free marketing and some good money would be from, gaming related event. And, that's why, the first venue is very kind of open space, flexible, big windows, so we can do vinyls and stuff like that. And, when we opened, we've managed to get the first time that Ubisoft was doing an event outside of their headquarters in Guildford. And we convinced them and we did the launch of Ghost Recon. And I think people were just like, okay, this is amazing, because we don't need to go to Guildford. It's much easier to bring everyone, in London, blah, blah, blah. And they had everything there. They just need to send us, the video game. We put it the game, we downloaded the game before it was going out. The press had, all the catering that they need, from the bar and the kitchen. And we could have the community having good time, for the game release, for the first video and stuff like that. So the idea is just to make publishers and event organizer, because we work with publisher, but we also work with, event organizing, for example, for the Pokemon after party and stuff like that, where we're trying to give them like a tailored service where actually they can ask us anything that they want, and we're going to try to accommodate them as much as we can to, they just come in and everything is ready, so they, events are quite stressful. So if they can have like kind of rely on a venue where they can do some stuff without any kind of complication, that's the main idea with, screens, console. Even if it's not the console that we have, we can switch the console. That's not a problem. If there's a special drink that you want, it's not a problem. We do like some bespoke cocktails sometimes and bespoke drinks. And ultimately, it's what we see is like actually gaming brands want bigger space. So that's why I think we've hopefully with the next venue is going to be big enough where we can host, big games, because obviously, when you have like a AAA games, when they have a release, they have huge budget, and a venue of 250 people is not enough for launch. They need maybe 300-400 people. So this is like, I think the last step to do an activation. But I've seen, the launch of Call of Duty, they need to set up a place, and I see, they hire, event company, production company to do everything. And then when the production company works with us, say, okay, guys, you are kind of the dream venue, because you do most of the work, and we don't need to come in. And that's the idea. And I think this is how a gaming venue should be, is like kind of make, gaming, because then also for us, it's a good opportunity to do marketing, because then if you are the venue where video game activation are being made, then all the other producers want to come back. Yeah, and I think at some point, I think not maybe recently, but in the past, we were, I think, one out of three or one out of two events were our platform, because there was like a need to use platform, and it was kind of nice and easy to do.
Yeah, I guess with that whole thing you mentioned is those big activations, you've got your target market of either media people, social media people, or you have game developers, you have people who are with organizations, because a lot of, especially the Shoreditch one, there's a lot of esports teams around there, and all these people want to come to your venue to run an event. Is there any big events which you've done where you've learned a lot from them? Because, you've mentioned all those things now. You can customize the menu, which is something you did like for the Fnatic viewing party there. You had a custom menu for the event. You can put whatever you want on the screens. You've got speakers, so you can play whatever you want out of the speakers, and you can like cut off certain sections for whatever you need. But then, like, what was the the event that you learned the most from?
I think it was the first event with Ubisoft. We were definitely not ready, but you know, hospitality is like always to accommodate the client. So it was very stressful. I think it's the only time like I put my hand on my head and I was like, we're gonna die. You know, it was so intense. But then also you realize that you want to accommodate anything, and then in the end you just need to learn to say no. And then because you know the limitation of the venue, you know, we cannot go, you know, we don't have a production capacity, you know, we have. So I think that was like kind of definitely like game changing the first event. Now we learn to say no. And then where we learn a lot is like when we did like, for example, Genshin event where they needed like very high production value they wanted to put, and this is kind of the thing that we learn to say no now, because the venue is not made to do production in the venue. People can run casual tournaments, but so I think it's just to learn what you can do and what you can't do, and also what has been kind of good for the business in terms of money. You know, it's like kind of how much time I've put to organize an esports tournament. It's so huge that actually I should like ask twice the price of what we usually do. So I think it's just learning. I think to come back to like build a gaming venue or gaming bar, there's no blueprint yet. So we just still like learning every day. I think that's why we are platform 2.0, and then we're trying to get to platform ultimate, I would say, where we know exactly. And I think the best way to see it is like gaming launches, so something that, you know, you use the screens, you use the games, and that's it. Viewing parties been really good because people just come, we put the game on the screens and we put the audio of the screen, so that's really nice and easy. But then, you know, more on the esports side of things, or very kind of bespoke, where people want to spend a lot in terms of production, we say, guys, I think this is not the right venue to do it. Yeah, or they're happy with to compromise.
Yeah, I guess that's the interesting one right now. You mentioned about the casual audience being such a big factor for you. When you look at, you know, the hardcore esports audience who would want viewing party venues, you know, more like a sports bar, less like what you have now, which is an activity bar with screens. Do you think that's a viable model for a gaming bar? Would be to have, you know, just screens showing all the different esports that are going on?
I think it's not yet ready. I think that was part of the discussion we had when I came from the tube to here with you, is like you said, is like at the moment in esports, we have a lot of fans for the very big games with the very big credible organization and the big players. This you can do, but you don't have enough events yet like this. And I think there's still an opportunity to build the grassroots. The thing is, the grassroots esports is not yet people who maybe go out that much, spend the money that should be spent, you know, in a bar, like a football fan or, you know, tennis fan or whatever. So I think it needs to be there, but it's not kind of something that should be mandatory. We put it there because I think we still want to be involved in esports because it's still very important. Some orgs are doing well, so we want to work with them and see what they need and still have it. And also we want to, I think at some point, maybe have our own community just coming and, you know, because we have some, I believe we have some fans and they want to come not just for kind of have a drink, but also maybe to watch esports like with their friends. Like me going to like a pub with a friend and see, you know, a team that I don't support on football. So I think there's something, I think this is where we're going to keep the esports. I think is really the viewing party where people can come. It's very easy to set up. You do when it's like, we usually put the music, but then when it's a big event where, for example, esports company hire us, then we say, okay, we put the sound out. And I think people need to get used to it, because when you go to a sports bar, you're gonna hear the sound of the football, you know, or the sports. But then, you know, if you go to a gaming bar, there was always a debate where should we keep the music, or should we put the thing of the esports event?
Yeah.
Then in the end, people consider us as a gaming bar, so it should be normal to have the voice of the casters.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to see where platform goes, the expansion of it. I know the fact that you're a single venue gaming bar that has now got a second one this year, and you're looking to get a third one soon. That's a very good sign for you guys that growth is going to be, I guess, exponential, hopefully at some point, as long as the concept keeps working and keeps growing. I guess what, if you could say right now where you'd want platform to be in 10 years time, what would you say?
I think, there's in terms of number of location, I think I would like to be like the level of a nice cinema chain. So maybe in 10 years we can be, 50, 100 location.
Wow.
That can be something that I think we could reach potentially. I think it's like, there's some step towards that, but I think it's, when we get this kind of ultimate platform, and then the copy pasting is going to be much easier. Now we're still like learning a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second bit is really like the mission statement is like just making gaming cool. I think just the stereotype is just unfair for the industry. When I see a lot of the families, my kids are addicted to video games, I'm like, I think it's just, you're just not educated about video games, because video games, they can be, a way to learn stuff, to collaborate with people, to make friends. I know it can seem weird, but like, it's a way, online you can make friends, it's like, then if I wish the kid can say to their parents, but look at how much time you spend on Facebook, and we don't call you addict to Facebook, so I think it's like kind of this is like being big to prove something that is, I think gaming can be, like going to the cinema or going to a concert, or to see, not anymore, but Elton John or something like this.
Oh yeah, cool. I mean, I was about to say rest in peace, Elton John, but he's not died. It's just he's done his final concert.
Exactly.
But no, you're right. I think gaming is cool, and I think if we can make it seen that way, then platforms.
I mean, it's also your mission in a way, with this podcast, and I think we all trying, I think, to work for the same objective, to make it, what it should be. And I think we don't. No one has the right recipe, but I think a lot of people are working towards this direction.
Well, thank you very much, Nico, for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
Yeah, you've educated so many people through the how open you are about platform and the goals, the business model. And one thing that's always very clear when you speak about it is everything is very intentional. There's no guesswork. You're trying to work things out as you go along. Making educated decisions based off of what you see, how things succeed. And I think that's one of the most inspiring things within our industry right now, is seeing businesses and companies where they're using the smart business model and logic to try and develop a good plan of action for the future.
And I think that's also one of our challenges, and I think also for the industry, is like some, esports brand, they've done such harm to the industry because they thought what they were doing was right, and actually was just to put money in their pocket. So this is why it's more challenging maybe for you and us and some other people, where actually we want to go to somewhere that is sustainable. And I think, like you said, I think this is why the decision we try to make. Obviously we do a lot of mistakes, so I don't want to say it's easy.
No.
To be here today with you, it's been, I would say not 2016, but since 2017 I work on the project. So it's been almost 7 years on the project. So it takes a lot of time. So the idea is like, and also we had the pandemic in the middle, so I think lost 2 years. So let's say I work on this project for 5 years. You need to be curious, look around, but always think, like you said, how you can make money ultimately, not just to kind of, I want to grow my fan base. Because growing the fan base is one thing, but then it's making money on your fan base. And this is, we don't have the same model of a esports team, but like how we attract customer to come to the venue. And I think you put like the really good question is like, where are we going to get all these people in the venue, and this digital marketing, and also understanding what's going to be the next generation, what the content creators want, because we are now in the content creators industry where, this is how you do marketing. So I think it's keep evolving all the time, and there's no secret recipe. I think we just need to adapt all the time, and we are lucky with that. The video games, it's growing, but I think now we come to like kind of a top thing. Now we just kind of adapt to the industry, and then just kind of just attract as much people as possible.
Well, we end the podcast with the same question for everyone, and that's, what does gaming mean to you?
I think gaming is, for me, it represents how close I could be competitive. I think, I always dreamed to be kind of a professional tennis player or football player or whatever. I think the video games has been kind of what the closest for me to be like competitive, like it's tricky when I talked before. I think I was kind of decently good. And so I think this is like what's beautiful with it is like kind of you can feel that you can be like kind of a champion, even though, you're not maybe playing against anyone or just, trying to beat the best score and stuff like that. And and I think it's just also for me, gaming is how you play together. And I think people just forget, how good it is to play with other people. I think just people think, oh, gaming, you by yourself because you're in front of a computer, but actually like you share, emotions, you share, your day-to-day life. I see, I went to a show a couple of months ago just with people I've met, online and randomly because we just found out the same thing and we just went together. And I think it's, gaming can just put people together and make people dream. And I think this is what gaming means to me as a person.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.